why don't you just kind of recap Saturday's action, and then we'll just take some questions.
Yeah, after obviously watching it, I really didn't see anything different than probably most of my comments from Saturday night. It comes down to when you lose a football game, there's a lot of ways to lose a football game. Typically, you get outplayed in some areas. Typically, you got to get out physical in some areas, or you have some bad luck. And the tough thing to swallow this defeat is we really didn't have any of those. We didn't get outplayed. We didn't get out physical. We didn't really catch any really bad breaks. That you say, well, that was poor luck. All the things that indicate winning in football, from controlling the football to controlling the line of scrimmage, to be able to run the ball, to having possessions, to everything, winning the turnover battle, like we did them all. Like that's the hardest thing. One of the harder losses I've been a part of, because when you say, what did you do right to win the game, if you start to check the boxes, we almost checked every box to win a football game. So now it comes down to one critical area, and it's the penalties. And the penalties, you can have few penalties, you can have a lot of penalties, but we had a number of penalties, but we had them at the most inopportune times. And offensively, we had 9 drives, 3 of them were stopped on penalties, and 2 were after huge chunk plays. We had a screen pass for a big game, called back on a holding. We hit a boot route for a huge gain, called back on a holding. And then we had first downs on the plays, and then we end up punting the football on those 2 drives. So you can say, okay, you got stuffed and you lost 5 yards and you had a holding penalty and only cost you 5 drives. But we had the penalties that stopped drives, which twice were putting the ball in position to score points. All right, and at a point in the game that if we score some more points, the game's probably going to be in hand and we're going to win it. Then obviously defensively, we're up 10 points with 7 minutes to go, and we got them 3rd and 10, and we get a personal foul penalty. So instead of 3rd and 10 with a chance maybe for 1 more play to win the game, at most 2 more plays, then they get down there, we're going to have 3rd and goal at the 11, and we get a pass interference penalty. So they go on a long drive, but we twice had them in situations that we could have put them in a long yardage situation to get off the field or try a field goal attempt. And so it's not just you got a pass interference penalty, you get pass interference penalty probably every week. Sometimes they're not very costly. The game time, the situation, the penalties were critical in determining the outcome of the game. So from a discipline standpoint, from a technique standpoint, from understanding how to play the football game and that every second counts out there, we got to do a much better job. Because when you stand in front of your team, yesterday you're sitting there, we crushed them in yardage, we crushed them in time of possession, we crushed them in the turnover battle. If you count a roughing the kicker as a turnover, it's really 3 possessions to 1. We totally took over the line of scrimmage in the second half, and you don't win a football game. And these are all the things we preach. If you do these things, you're going to win. If you don't do these things, you're going to lose. And we've been working hard to get to the point that we can sit in front of the team and say we did those things, and we did them, and you still come out on the short end of the stick. So very, very difficult to swallow all the things that we did well and you don't win. But from the player standpoint, they need to understand that playing discipline and playing smart, and sometimes it's just over-aggressiveness. We got a guy that's dominating a DB. He's blocked him 25 yards downfield, and he gets called for a holding penalty 25 yards downfield. He's got to be smart enough at the end not to grab the jersey, even if it's for a slight time. He can't put himself in position, so that call gets made, and we get a 30-yard play called back. And same thing, you hustle the football and you want to be aggressive, and we've been preaching physicality, and the quarterback steps out of bounds, and then you hit another guy in the team, and we like the physicality and we like the aggressiveness, but not time or place, and it costs you dearly. And those are just 2 examples, and I'm not pointing out those 2. They were all critical. If you go back and watch the game, you're trying to figure out how you lost, and it still comes back to this drive got stopped on a penalty. This drive got stopped on a penalty. This drive got stopped on a penalty. This drive got aided immensely by 2 15-yard penalties. So it was very difficult, because when you look at, hey, did we out physical? Yeah, like I asked the kids, who lost a physical matchup on Saturday? You got to look hard. And there was a few we lost, but you got to look hard over 100-some plays where we lost a physical battle. We won physical battle after physical battle after physical battle after physical battle. We controlled the line of scrimmage. We controlled the clock. We controlled the ball with our offense. We did everything else. Then the last piece is just finishing. For our football team and where they've been and what they've done the last few years with not winning many games, it's coming down the 4th quarter. The other thing that hurt us late was just the belief that we're going to win the game. That people still go out there, and you watch kids play for 3.5 quarters, particularly defensively, because we really didn't play offense in the last 7 minutes of the game. you watch our kids go out there that were playing aggressive, we're playing alert, we're playing on their toes, we're reading their keys and flying around, and we got passive. We got back on our heels, and we sat back, and we were waiting for somebody else in the team to make the play to win the game. And you just need to keep playing like you played for 3 quarters. You get up 7 points for 3 quarters. You get up 181 yards for 3 quarters. You just got to keep doing what you've been doing. And they didn't run any different plays. They didn't do anything different offensively. They threw the ball a little more, but it's the same route structures that they always run, same route structures that we defended, but then we don't defend them as well. So, and then it's the bottom line stepping up. We probably had 6 or 7 plays in the last 2 drives defensively. We got a 4th and 5, just got to get off the field. We got a 3rd and 8. We got a 3rd and 10. We had so many opportunities to make one play and win the game, and we don't make it, and Eastern makes it. So for us, the ability to finish when it counts. And then same thing offensively. We got to finish. We go on a 10-minute, 12-second drive. We got to finish that drive. If we score there, it's 24-7, ball game over. We don't score. We get stopped. It's 4th and 2.5, 4th and 3. We kick a field goal. We clank it off the upright. We at least got to get 3 points. I know they got 2 touchdowns, but it's a different complexion of game if you're up 13 than if you're up 10. So our ability to finish the job on both sides of the ball, obviously, is the things you point, because you're searching as you watch that tape how you don't win the game, and you say the things we preach and the things we believe in and what everybody believes in. It's not statistical analysis of how to win football games. We won all the battles we need to win the game. You still lose the game 21-17.
It sounds to me like you're saying that for a while there, some of your guys were trying to do too much, and then after it started getting away from them, then they kind of backed off a little bit. Is that a fair assessment?
I think there's some penalties that are just lack of discipline and not using your head. There's other penalties that were probably a little bit over aggressive and trying to do too much. And then I think just at the last juncture of the game, and like I said, the last 2 drives for Eastern, we didn't play very aggressive. We got back on our heels, and we played like a team that hasn't won many games, and we're not sure we can win a game. If you're a confident, aggressive team, you just go out and you play, and you find a way to get stopped, and you win a game. We're not that team, and the only way you get to be that team is you win games. So we have to get in that situation and win the game so we can start building the confidence we need to be a great football team.
Where are we at this week as far as JT, HUD, injuries, anything like that?
Well, JT obviously got called with the targeting call, so he'll miss the first half of the game. And that's a call for me. I'm down on some of my guys on some of the penalties they drew, because whether they were being too aggressive or whether they were being too careless, we've addressed those already. That's one, when you watch it, he by the letter of the rule, did he hit him in the head area? Yeah, he wasn't even trying to hit the quarterback on the play, all right? He was trying to bat a pass down. So, and I know the rule's got to be called how the rule's got to be called. It's not argument whether it was a foul or not. It's hard for me to get mad at a kid. He was fighting a cut block. He got off a cut block. He saw the quarterback was going to throw. He knew he couldn't get to hit the quarterback, so he literally jumped up with both arms trying to bat a pass down. So I just said, you got the first ever targeting penalty in the history of the targeting call when you weren't even trying to deliver a blow. You were trying, because he came over, he's like, Coach, I was just trying to, I said, I saw it live. He said, but as he was flailing to try to block the pass, because he was reaching with both arms, his hand hit the guy in the head, and, the kid fell back a little bit. He didn't even get knocked down, but he fell back a little bit, and there was a blow to the head, and they, according to the letter of the rule, obviously they deemed it was a targeting penalty. But I said, it's hard for me to get mad. He's just trying to bat a pass down. He got kicked out of the game and kicked out of the first half of next week with, it's a bizarre one, but when you watch the play, if you read the rule, it does hit the elements of a blow to the head, and you can argue forceful or not forceful and all that all you want, but and right in the rule it says you're going to err on the side of, protecting the player, but there was no intent that he wasn't trying to hit the quarterback. He was trying to bat a pass down. He was jumping up to bat a pass down, and he was reaching to try to get towards the ball, and he happened to hit the guy in the face, and they booted him out of the game. So for me, that's one. Difficult for him because absolutely no intent or malice, or even, like I said, he goes, I wasn't even trying to tackle a guy, and I got kicked out of a game. I said, there's, and we've said all along, it's obviously the rule's in for a good reason, and it's made the game a lot safer, and it's just part of it. Sometimes it's going to happen, and you just got to swallow and move on.
Any news on the other injured guys like Rokeem and
Yeah,
Miles?
Rakeem, we don't know yet. He's got a minor injury, and he probably won't be practicing much this week, but we'll be hopeful to get him back for Saturday. Huddy will not play for the rest of the year, unfortunately. He's got a bad injury that could have been avoided, but he got hit after a play, and the tough pill to swallow is he got hit after a play, and there was no play call, and he's out for the year. And we had a personal foul. We actually had two personal fouls a game, but we had a similar play that got called that extended one of their drives, and it was very similar. Our quarterback was running out of bounds. Their quarterback was running out of bounds. Kid was running across the field trying to hustle, try to play football the right way, and the quarterback ran out of bounds. He decided to hit somebody else, all right? And our guy got hit, and it ended the season. And their guy got hit. It was almost the exact. If you watch the two plays, it's a carbon copy of one another. And one, we punted because it was third down, and we didn't get the first down. One, they were going to be behind the chains 3rd and 10, and they ended up getting a key first down at a time where they had no momentum to get out to the 35. So one they saw, one they didn't see, and that's sometimes, if you said we had any bad luck, it would be on those two plays, because if you watch those two plays, it's the same play.
Yes, obviously, Coach, you talked about the penalties and how they're a big problem. 13 is obviously a large number. So what are the keys to cutting down on the penalties, and how do you plan on doing so next week against Western Kentucky?
Well, obviously, you start off with what type of penalty was it? Was it lack of discipline? Lack of discipline is about decision-making of the kids and grinding into their heads that there's going to be thousands of split-second decisions out there. We had a retaliation penalty on the last drive. Again, we got shoved twice. We went to shove them back. They see the second offender, and we get the 15-yard penalty, which is a critical play in the game. And it didn't matter that what they did to our kid and what we did to their kid wasn't even close to the same aggressiveness. It's just what they saw. And so those lack of discipline ones you have to address, and it's got to come from within each player, because everybody out there at some point is going to have a chance to do something they shouldn't do, and you got to make the choice not to. All right. The second one, the lack of aggressiveness ones, you want to temper back enough. You got a guy that drive blocks a corner for 15 yards, just let him go. I mean, the lesson is you did your job. You dominated a kid on the other team. You did everything we want you to do. We don't want to take away your aggressiveness and not block. We actually literally ran a kid 15 yards downfield, and at the end of 15 yards, we grabbed a little bit jersey, they called a holding penalty, where we just got to punch off there and not get a little tug, because we don't want to take away the great job he did. And that's the frustrating things when you see penalties like this. The kid's doing exactly and playing the game exactly the way it's supposed to be played. And he won the battle big time. It's different if the defensive end beats your right tackle and your right tackle tackles him on the way to a sack. Obviously, we got to get better at technique. It's the tougher ones is a couple of ones we had where we're really doing a good job, and you don't want to take the good job away. You just got to take the end result away.
I got a sense after Iowa that there was it helped a little bit with the confidence. After this particularly loss, is it possible that confidence drops a little bit? And you've got Western Kentucky in who played well, to put it mildly, last year. How do you think it's going to be working toward this week on the confidence factor?
Well, you got a couple different things working there. Obviously, your play up to this point dictates your confidence level in yourself. So, again, Saturday, physically, our physical play for 90% of our guys, their confidence should continue to rise. I know we lost the game, but when you go out there and you play well and you physically win the matchups, and we won enough against Iowa that we felt like certain kids really confidence grew. And then a lot of those kids and more physically played really well against Eastern Illinois. When you go out there and you got to cover a guy for 4 quarters and he couldn't get open, I know we lost the game, but that doesn't hurt your confidence. You did your job, all right? The second piece of Western Kentucky, obviously they were a tremendous football team a year ago. They scored a ton of points. They blew a ton of people out. They were a very, very talented football team. So that's a different story, as we have that in our closet of, we played them a year ago, and it was a physical mismatch at a lot of positions, and particularly on the perimeter and sometimes even in the trenches, that we left that game not thinking, okay, schematics, not thinking we got to play. Are we thinking, okay, we physically couldn't handle a lot of their players. So that's a different issue when it comes to our confidence going into this game. Now, hopefully feel like we've gained a lot of physicality and strength and speed, and I think we've seen that, we've lost games in Plass when we didn't control the line of scrimmage. We controlled the line of scrimmage. We haven't controlled the line of scrimmage in many games since I've been at Miami. We completely controlled. The second half particularly, we felt like we could wear them down. The second half, obviously offensively, we had 3 possessions in the second half. One was penalized away from us, and the other 2, we had a 7.5-minute drive for a touchdown. We had a 10-minute 12. So our confidence growing in, can we be physical? Can we hold up in the trenches? Can we try to move the ball in offense? Our offense, confidence should have been built. Now, the confidence of our football team to finish a game, that's a third piece. We can do a lot of things, and you get in position to win. We got to win games. All right, that's the result is important, and us doing good things and feeling like we're better is one thing, but we have to find a way as a football team to have the belief to win a game down the stretch and make plays down the stretch.
With Dowdy gone, are they, as far as you could tell from the tapes and everything, are they pretty much doing things the same, the system? It looks like they're being pretty successful.
Yeah, very similar. Obviously, the first game they put up a crazy quarterback, played great, crazy amount of yards, rushing, throwing. They're really better up front offensively, and they've got a very capable of quarterback that's talented. Obviously hasn't played as many games a system as Dowdy did, so there's always the experience factor, but they got arsenal of running backs, arsenal of receivers, and then defensively they got a lot of guys back, and they added a couple more transfers that are big time players. So they're imposing, and defensively, I know Alabama, it's tough to score some points in Alabama, we all get that, but their offense proved week 1 that they're very potent. And defensively they played. Most of the reason Nick Saban was so upset has a lot to do with Western Kentucky's defense. And I know he was mad at his offense, like we always look from within, but Western Kentucky's defense played a whale of a physical football game against, obviously, the most physically gifted probably team in the country. So there's a huge challenge ahead for our kids.
Yeah, Coach, so watching the game, I noticed especially on the opening drive of the second half, you guys really seem to lean on Alonzo Smith more so than you did in the Iowa game, because more so in the Iowa game you had 3 running backs, whereas Smith, who carried the ball 27 total times on Saturday, can we expect to see more of that going up against Western Kentucky, or is it still a trio of running backs?
I think there'll be more balance. I don't know that we totally plan to get Zoe that many carries. It was definitely, we have Zoe, we have Spencer, and Leonard are our big backs, and Spencer and Leonard haven't played yet this year. We're hopeful to get them back in the next couple weeks. And then you got Kenny and Mo are smaller backs, not that they can't run up inside, because Kenny and Mo have run very well inside, but just we were trying to pound the ball. We felt like we were starting to get an edge physically. We felt like we can wear them down. We went into some bigger personnel groups. We thought we could just take over the game offensively. That was the plan at halftime. I said, we're going to go big, and we're going to get after them, and we're going to, if we can push him around a little bit, and Zoe's our big, he's got 30 pounds on those other kids, and there was a lot of hard yards up inside. So we kind of leaned on him more. But I think your point of we're going to play all 3 backs, and it's still going to be a trio of backs, and hopefully we'll play 5 eventually and use all their strengths.
Billy said after the game that they were seeing a lot of man, a lot of tight coverage, and even on that long touchdown pass, there was good coverage there. Missing 1 or 2 guys from it now, do you think maybe getting some extra? You've been trying to build depth all the way around, but and along the receiver unit, do you think that the depth is there, and that getting maybe some extra reps this week will help them going forward?
Yeah, I think obviously we feel good about our depth. We haven't played a ton of receivers. Obviously, Rowe, Murph, Huddy, Shizzo have played the majority of the snaps. Sam Martin played some more snaps. Obviously, Kyle Rowe got in there, had a catch. We got a call back, but had a nice catch when he got in there. So we feel good about our depth of receiver, and now we're definitely needed, obviously, with Huddy being done, and Rowe being probably closer to a game-time decision. We may know more later this week, but as of now, you're thinking it's going to be down in the wire. We're going to need to rely on that depth, and obviously those kids with Rowe's not going to practice a bunch this week, or if at all, and Huddy's not going to practice for the rest of the year. So these kids are going to get those reps that you're talking about in practice to get prepared, and they know we need them in the second half. And Rowe went down the first half, Huddy went down the first quarter, so we played the last 2.5 quarters with that group, and we feel like we have built depth, and there's other guys, the Luke Mayaks and the Kyle Rose, and there's other guys that we feel like can make plays out there that we're going to have to rely on.
The lack of those 2 receivers wasn't obviously the only reason you went to the run. more in the second half, right?
No, I don't think, I think we still felt like we could throw the ball. And we felt like we had a physical advantage, and we felt like the best chance to win the game was to take over the game offensively. Like, the hardest thing for me is we did what we wanted to do. Like, we did take over the game physically. And we wanted to take over the game offensively. Not that we didn't think our defense was down. We just felt like we could overwhelm them and run the ball and pound the ball, and you go on a 89-yard drive and you score a touchdown, you go up 17-7, and then you get a stop after they botch a field goal, and you get the ball and you march it right back down there. And yeah, we got stopped on that drive. You know, it was 4th and 3, you know, and now you make a field goal, it's 20-7, you still have all the momentum. Like, to me, then we get the ball back. Even if they score, which they did, say they still score, you get the ball back. If we don't penalize ourselves high, they haven't slowed us down the whole second half. We've had 2 drives, and we've used 18 minutes of the second half on 2 drives. They've had the ball for 4 minutes. We've had it for 18. All we got to do is get 1 first down, and ball game's over. And we've been physically overwhelmed. And well, we end up 1st and 24. So that's when you say, like, I try to go in and trust me, you've heard me talk after losses before. Like, I'll tell you if we got whipped. I'll tell you if we got out schemed. I'll tell you if we got this player or this area was. We got the ball with 4 minutes left. They haven't even slowed us down in the run game the whole second half. All we got to do is get 1 first down. And game's over, and we're 1st and 24. So that's when there's no, like, the penalty. We can't have the penalty and the personal foul to get to 1st and 24, because we got 5 yards on first down. It was 2nd and 5. You watch it play, we got 5 yards. 2nd and 5. We get 5 more yards in 2 plays, which was going to be fairly easy for us at that point in time. Ball game over, we win the game. So when you do everything you want to do and you don't win, that's when it gets very frustrating for everybody, because you feel like, how did we lose the game? Not just the coaches, I'm talking the kids. Like, I didn't get whipped. Like, I'm with you. But then that's when you have to critically look. You did lose the game, and there's reasons for it. And the big reason was penalties and not being able to finish, you know, and go down there and make a play when you need to make a play. But it really comes down, if we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, we roll the clock out there and we win. And we're talking about how much more physical we are, just like after Iowa game. You know, and for the first time since I've been at Miami, we could control the line of scrimmage and really control a game by running the football. We've won a couple games here. That's not even been close to the truth in any game that I've been a part of, you know. And that we played smart and we played tough, and, you know, we won a physical battle, and that's what we're trying to become. But it doesn't turn out that way, so it's very, very, very frustrating from my end, because, again, I've lost many football games throughout my life, but that's one of the toughest. Like, I felt like we did everything. We should have won the game. Like, we outplayed them, we out-physical them, we out-executed, we did everything we want to do. We make stupid penalties, and they come back and really, really haunt you in critical situations. I mean, there's no more critical than the one on offense at the end of the game. How are they going to stop us? We just went on a 10-minute drive. Before they went on an 8-minute drive. We got 5 yards on first down. All we got to do is get 5 more yards, and they're going to use all their timeouts. If we get another first down, we're taking a knee. If we don't, they're getting the ball back with like 40 seconds left, and they're going to have to go 80 yards. You know, but we get to 1st and 25 because we get a holding penalty and we get personal foul penalty, and now you can't run the ball. You know, now they do have 1 more chance. So it's every second counts out there. We talk about all the time, and everything you do, you have to be locked in, because you don't know which play is going to cost you. And obviously, some penalties really, really hurt us.
We good? Coach, thanks.
Thanks, guys.